Have you ever felt like you need to, like, I don't know, like be some kind of English grammar master to feel confident when you're speaking English?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you need to be a superhero or something.
Definitely. Well, get ready to ditch the cape because today we are diving into something that just might blow your mind.
Okay.
The surprising link between confidence and fluency in English.
Hmm.
And trust me, it's not about just cramming more vocab words into your brain.
It's a really fascinating topic because
Right,
so many people just assume that fluency equals confidence.
right,
But honestly, the reality is much more nuanced than that.
exactly. And to unpack all of this, we are taking a deep dive into this video from a super successful language instructor,
Okay.
and she totally transformed her own communication skills, and she's sharing how she did it, which is so cool.
What's really powerful about her story is that it throws a wrench in the whole, the better English equals more confidence myth.
Right. She straight up calls it a myth.
Yeah. I mean, she even did a poll on Instagram and she has 1 million followers. So that's some serious data, right?
That's a lot of data.
Turns out 90% of them believe that myth, which is just wild.
90%. That's huge. I mean, it makes you realize just how many people are caught up in this cycle of thinking they need to be perfect,
Yeah,
to be confident.
totally. It's like we're putting so much pressure on ourselves to reach this level of fluency, this mythical level of fluency, that we forget, like, the whole point of language, which is connecting with others.
And that pressure just backfires, creating more anxiety
Yeah,
and making us even less confident to speak. It's like a vicious cycle.
it's so true. Think about it. Have you ever, like, been so worried about making the mistake when you're speaking that you just clam up,
I think we've all been there at some point.
right? Oh, for sure.
And what's so interesting is that this expert that we're talking about, she's been obsessed with English since childhood.
Oh, wow.
She used to teach grammar lessons to her dolls.
That's adorable. That kind of makes me think about, like, how I first got interested in languages.
Yeah, why did you?
I remember watching foreign films with the subtitles and, like, trying to mimic what the actors were saying.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all about, like, the fun of it.
Yeah.
What about you? Any early language memories?
Oh, definitely. I used to listen to music in different languages,
Uh-huh.
and I would try to sing along, even though I had no idea what the words meant.
Right.
It was pure fascination with the sounds and, like, the rhythm.
Yeah.
But, somewhere along the line, that playfulness gets replaced by this pressure to be correct.
Yes. And that's a key point that she brings up that, like, traditional language learning gets so caught up in these grammar rules and the perfect pronunciation that it kind of misses, like, the bigger picture
Yeah.
of actual communication.
It's like learning all the parts of a bicycle,
Right.
but you never actually get on and ride it.
Such a good analogy. And our expert, she experienced this firsthand. Like, despite studying English for years, when she went to the United States, real-life situations, just felt totally overwhelming.
It's a classic case of textbook English
Yeah,
versus real-world English.
totally.
You can know all the grammar rules in the world,
Uh-huh.
but if you can't navigate a simple conversation or even just express yourself clearly,
Yeah,
it's not really that useful.
totally. And here's where it gets really eye-opening. Like, she noticed that people who were less fluent than her were actually way more confident when they were communicating.
That's because they'd mastered those essential communication skills
Yeah,
that, often get overlooked in textbooks.
right.
Things like active listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but really engaging with what the other person's saying.
Right, and picking up on those nonverbal cues like their body language and facial expressions, like reading the whole room.
Exactly. It's also about knowing, like, how to take turns in a conversation.
Yeah,
How to manage your anxiety when you're feeling, nervous.
for sure.
And even, like, using humor to connect with people.
Yeah,
These are the skills that truly confident communicators have.
it's like they're playing a whole different game, one that goes beyond just vocab and grammar.
Right.
And you know what? Our expert said she felt like a newborn speaker at the time,
Oh, wow.
which I think so many of us can relate to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely had those moments where I felt like I was back at square one, just fumbling over basic phrases.
It's a humbling experience for sure.
It is.
But that feeling of being a newborn speaker, it can also be incredibly liberating.
It can. Yeah, it is. It's like you're giving yourself permission to start fresh, to experiment, and to not take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what this expert did, She realized that confidence wasn't about knowing more English.
Right.
It was about shifting her internal approach to it, her mindset.
Okay, so it's about mindset, not the grammar rules.
Exactly.
But, like, What's going on in your head? I'm sensing a theme here.
Absolutely. It's such a crucial point because those limiting beliefs that we all have
Right.
about our language abilities, they can really hold us back.
It's like that little voice in your head. It's like, you're not good enough, or you're going to mess up. People are going to laugh at you.
Right. And those beliefs often have nothing to do with our actual skills. You know what I mean? They're
Mhm.
just rooted in deeper insecurities or past experiences, maybe where like we were laughed at or like we felt embarrassed.
Totally. It's like we're carrying around all this baggage from our past,
Exactly.
and it's weighing us down in the present moment.
The key here is to just recognize that those are just stories that we're telling ourselves.
Right.
They're not necessarily true.
Okay, so how do we, like, ditch those old stories and start, writing some new ones?
Well, she developed a brilliant 3-step framework for building confidence.
Hmm.
And the best part is it's something that like anyone can use
Okay.
right away.
All right, lay it on me. I'm ready. I need a confidence boost.
All right, so step 1 is make a decision.
Okay, sounds simple enough, but I have a feeling there's more to it than just being like, yeah, I want to be more confident.
Yeah, you're right. It's about being intentional. It's about making a choice, like a conscious choice to change your mindset and like your actions.
Right, so it's like drawing a line in the sand and being like, okay, from this point forward,
Yeah.
I'm committed to becoming a more confident communicator.
Exactly. That commitment is what sets everything in motion.
It's about taking ownership, right?
Totally. It's like saying, I'm not going to let these old stories, these limiting beliefs control me anymore. Like, I am choosing to believe in myself and, like, my ability to actually improve.
Okay, I love it. So step 1, all about intention. What's next?
Step 2 is identify what needs to change.
Okay, so this is where the self-reflection comes in.
Yeah, exactly. It's about getting real with yourself and asking what specific communication habits or beliefs are, like, holding me back.
So maybe it's like, the fear of speaking up in meetings, or maybe feeling anxious about going to like a networking event because you're worried about your English.
Right, those are great examples. Or maybe it's something as simple as like, avoiding phone calls in English
Yeah,
because you're like you're so afraid of not understanding everything perfectly.
right.
The point is to really pinpoint the areas where you feel stuck.
Yeah, I think that's so important because it's so easy to just be like, oh, I lack confidence.
Right.
But when you break it down and you identify those specific triggers, it feels much more manageable.
Right. And once you kind of know what needs to change, you can start to develop strategies to address them.
Okay, so we've made the decision. We've identified the things that we need to work on. What's the final step in this confidence framework?
Step 3 is create proof.
Create proof. Okay, I'm intrigued. What does that mean?
It basically means replacing like all those negative beliefs with positive experiences and successes.
Hmm.
Because as she puts it, confidence equals proof.
So it's about taking action and being like, hey, I can do this,
Yeah,
even if your brain is trying to tell you otherwise.
exactly. It's about proving those old stories wrong by creating new evidence
Right.
based on like your own experiences.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how all these steps fit together.
Mhm.
It's this process of shifting your mindset from doubt to belief and then backing up that belief with action and real results.
Right. And you know what's really cool? Our expert actually shares a story about transforming her health and fitness.
Okay.
And she emphasizes how those same principles apply to building confidence in communication skills.
So if you can commit to a fitness goal and like see those results,
Yeah.
you can apply that same mindset to anything, like including language learning, which I love.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you actually have the power to change and grow,
Yeah.
even if it's like difficult at first or uncomfortable.
So what are some practical ways that we can create that proof? Like, what does that action actually look like?
Well, it could be something as simple as like starting a conversation with a stranger in English.
Right.
Or maybe you finally record that video for your YouTube channel that you've been putting off.
Right, or joining that language exchange, or like finally signing up for that presentation class that you've been thinking about.
Exactly. And, there's a reason that she emphasizes repetition as like a key part of creating proof.
Hmm.
She literally says, repeat, rinse, repeat over an extended period of time.
So it's not about like overnight success. It's about showing up consistently,
Yeah.
putting in the work, even when it feels tough.
And you know what? Those moments where you feel challenged and where you feel uncomfortable, those are actually the moments when the magic happens.
Because you're pushing past your comfort zone and proving to yourself that you can do more than you thought you could.
Exactly. And over time, you start to accumulate more and more of those positive experiences, those wins, and something really incredible happens. You actually create this new identity for yourself,
Yeah.
the identity of a confident communicator.
So it's not about just like faking it till you make it. It's about actually becoming the confident communicator that you want to be through consistent action and effort.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Grammar and vocabulary are important, of course,
Yeah.
but they're tools.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is like the art of communication.
Using those tools effectively to connect with people, to express yourself authentically, to build relationships. You don't have to be perfect to be confident and to make a real impact.
And all of that starts with taking that first step.
So for someone listening right now who's feeling stuck, maybe, like battling that inner critic, what's one small step they could take, like today, to start building that confidence muscle?
That's a great question. It really doesn't have to be anything big. Like maybe it's just introducing yourself to someone new in English,
Yeah.
or maybe it's, finally booking that conversation practice session that you've been putting off.
Yeah, or even something as simple as like practicing a presentation in front of the mirror.
Exactly. It's all about showing up,
Yeah.
and proving to yourself that you can actually do it.
Yeah. And remember, every little bit counts,
Totally.
Every time you step outside that comfort zone, you're like chipping away at those old beliefs
Yeah.
and you're building up that, that foundation of confidence.
Exactly.
So speaking of proof, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What's one step you're going to take to boost your confidence? Share your thoughts with us over on Platform Name.
Yes.
We are always so excited to hear from our amazing community.
And until then, keep this in mind. Confidence isn't like a destination. It's a journey.
Right.
And you can start that journey right now.
So true. It's all about progress, not perfection.
Right.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We are all in this together,
We are.
cheering each other on
Yes.
every step of the way. 5 for 100.